Following some breaking news tonight involving the Duval County Canvassing Board. The judge overseeing election results in Duval County resigned just a few hours after our news partners at the Florida Times-Union broke the story of Judge Brent Shore. He had been in charge of the Duval Election Canvassing Board, and that's the group that settles disputes over ballots. Well, the TU reported today that Shore had given political donations and even had candidate signs throughout his yard. That's in violation of the rules. So a lot of people are talking about this story today. Here's On Your Side's Alex Osiris to break it all down for us.
And Anthony, there was actually just a press conference here wrapping up. You can see some of the final people here. Angie Nixon, representative-elect, was also here leading community members, calling for an investigation and changes to the canvassing board procedures. But how did we get to this point? Signs and stickers. This on the home of Judge Brent Shore, alternate chair of the Duval County Canvassing Board, the body which for the past week has been reviewing mail-in ballots where the voter's intent is unclear, a check instead of an oval or a crossed-out choice. Ultimately deciding what the voter meant to do. Shore was also listed as a donor to the Republican National Committee in 2018, listing his occupation, and more recently donations this year to Donald Trump for president. Andrew Pantazzi with the Florida Times-Union broke the story.
This really puts in doubt his ability to put aside any partisanship and his personal feelings if he has a financial stake donating money to campaigns.
Shore resigned from the board Thursday afternoon. The On Your Side team left a message for Judge Shore, but we didn't hear back. We spoke with Duval County Supervisor of Elections Mike Hogan before Shore stepped down. He explained that the matter was referred to Duval County Chief Judge Mark Mahan, as Hogan does not have any authority over Shore. We then called the Chief Judge, leaving a message, which was not immediately returned. But as he says, as this plays out, what it could mean is that the work being done by the canvassing board is in jeopardy.
They're coming up on the election deadline, and not long after the election, they've got to have those mail ballots counted. And if they have to start over, they're really running a lot of risks.
Ahead are there legal and ethical questions involving this situation. We took that to a legal expert who's not affiliated with this situation to explain more of what the rules are in Florida. I'll have that coming up tonight on First Coast News at 6. Reporting live downtown, Alex Osiris, First Coast News, On Your Side.